Hello and welcome to the Lost Boys Podcast. My name is Chris McGonagle and you're listening to podcast number 165 on May the 31st, 2013. Well, for the last time this season I catch up with Jamie and Jerry and do a little roundup of everything that was going on in the world of Celtic at the minute, and we look back to the season we've just experienced and we look forward to what's coming up in the future and what we think is going to happen. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Okay, it is May 29th, and for the last time this season, I am absolutely delighted to say I have on the line James Burchell from LostBhoys.com. Good evening, James.
Good evening. Is there still a LostBhoys.com?
Well, you know what I mean. We're old traditionalists, old Luddites we are, you know. HailHailMedia.com. There you go.
Always has been, always will be.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Unbroken history, very good. And obviously, with that little chirp, we have Gerard Deal, treasurer of the Calgary Celtic Supporters Club. Good evening to you, Gerard.
Good evening, gentlemen. It's good to talk to you again.
It is absolutely wonderful. We'll wrap things up tonight, and that'll do us for at least 2 weeks anyway, Jimmy. We might have to buzz Mr. Deal from Las Vegas.
What a difference time makes, huh? What a difference a month makes.
Hey, nobody was more shocked than me than I got when I got those little sort of plane tickets slipped under my nose.
You've got me in tears already.
I know, Jerry.
Jerry, it's not too late, man. It's not too late.
Jerry, get in the car. Leave today.
That's a good idea.
That's an idea. Get in the car.
Jerry, it'll not be the same without you, man. Like I can't sort of dress that up any other way. It'll not be the same.
I know.
You're just going to have to keep your phone handy, and we'll have to podcast with you from sitting beside the pool to snowy Calgary.
No, I would anticipate it'd be about 3 o'clock in the morning when you would phone me.
What a brilliant idea, Jimmy.
Oh, I'll be hammered, drunk, asleep at 11, but you can wake me up.
A room full of people we could call you, Jerry. A room full of people. Bertie Auld and everybody will be asking about you. Where's the big man?
Bertie! You gotta love the hairy Bertie, right?
He's the missing link, isn't he?
Oh my God, he really is.
So I have to admit something. I don't know that much about Vegas this year. I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know what bands are playing. We're slipping this year.
It's still in the same place. It's in Nevada.
Oh, very good. Thanks for that.
I was responsible for booking the hotel?
Yes.
And so I wanted to get a nice room, and he wants a regular room. Like, he wants to sleep in a twin or something with me. I don't know what he's thinking about. That's why he misses your cuddling. So I don't know if he's going to be able to sleep at night, Jerry.
Look, there's a spare bed waiting for him. If he surprises us, it's there for him, free of charge. Well, apart from me ironing. You still have to do me ironing, Jerry.
Who's going to iron your clothes this weekend?
I don't know. I was thinking of air freighting them up to you to see what you could do before I went.
He's actually got his own room, Jerry. He's got room for you.
Well, there's still time.
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance if he can get that kidney sold between now and then.
Exactly. If I can make it back for China in time, I'll be.
You'd get a fair price for Fiona Hermanis.
They don't want my liver, that's for sure.
All right, lads. Back to basics then. So here we are. We've finished the season. Champions, Cup winners, last 16 of the European Cup. So it's been a good old season up till now. What do I think?
I'll tell you what, it's been the best season I've ever seen. I mean, I know it's not saying much.
Has this been the most successful season you've seen?
Oh, without question.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, final 16 in Europe.
So, Jamie, last 16 in the Champions League, that was really your first experience of that too, wasn't it?
Absolutely. My first experience with great success in Europe.
Because you've sort of followed through the Europa League disasters and limping along and all that kind of thing. And Champions League really is, it's something special, isn't it?
Yeah, when I came on, you were telling me that they actually had a good year in Europa, and I didn't even believe you. So I've never really seen such a great success in Europe, and really it was great because last year I remember talking to a guy from Cyprus and seeing the excitement that he had getting into the final 16, and I remember jokingly telling him, God, wouldn't that I would love that feeling. And there it is. 1 year later, boom, Celtic made it happen, and it was what a great joy it was.
The irony of it all, too, was when they lost in the Champions League this year, you know, they were probably two of the best games that Celtic actually played.
No question. They did not go limping out. They did not go quiet in the night, as they say.
Well, after the first leg, no doubt the tie was over, of course.
Well,
but you know, it was still enjoyable. I still thoroughly enjoyed the whole experience.
The best part of the European campaign was it sort of silenced the doomsayers that were predicting Armageddon, and it really put not just Celtic, but put Scottish football on the map for a wee while. You know, Celtic were obviously in the conversation in a lot of people's minds. And there were some particularly impressive personal performances. You know, Wanyama, Forster, they were both on the UEFA Team of the Week a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously the European campaign was the real highlight of the season, I think.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think Celtic outgrew the rest of Scotland this year? And by that I mean, I understand that we had some defeats this year and some real tough games, and sometimes it wasn't overly pretty. But with their escapades in Europe and the teams that they beat, the calibre of the teams that they beat, did they punch above their weight, or did they show just really what the gulf was like between Celtic and everybody else?
I think Sunday really highlighted that more than the league play throughout the season. I think what Sunday really demonstrated was when Celtic are on their game, there's a massive gulf in class between Celtic and everybody else.
James?
I think their great success in Europe this year definitely overshadowed what we were staring at. And you know, you could see those letdown games, right? We had a bunch of those this year. Completely understandable. We had some struggles at Hampden, you know, other than this last weekend at the with the League Cup, but I still think it was a brilliant year. You can't. It's tough to play Caldonia Partick 1,000-name team when you beat Barcelona. You know what I mean? When you beat Barcelona, it's tough to come back to the SPL. That being said, still a brilliant year. And again, they didn't score as many points as they did last year.
79 they ended up with.
Okay, what did they end up with last year? More.
Jerry's going to do the big Sasquatch fingers here and tell us that.
To answer your question, is have Celtic outgrown Scottish football? Well, I think that happened a long, long time ago, and perhaps this season just highlighted it more than anything else. But you make a good point, Jamie. The league, their league play had a few warts on it during the season, and I think there's a number of reasons for that, and we'll probably delve into them a little later. But you're right; it's hard to maintain that same focus when you're playing Barcelona, and then you're coming home to play Cali Thistle or Ross County or something like that. Again, on Sunday, one of the highlights for me on Sunday was the importance of Scott Brown to that side. He just changes the whole attitude, the whole endeavour about that side. When he's in the lineup, it's a completely different ballgame.
So we'll get into all the players in due course. So my question really was, with Celtic playing in the Champions League proper and in the last 16, did we deserve to be in with those teams? Were we as good as those teams that we played and better than everybody else in Scotland? Or were we punching above our weight in the Champions League, and even by winning the league by 16 points, are we still short when it comes to Europe?
Oof. No, you're not short. Got to the final 16. Now, it depends who you keep and who you don't keep, but this team can compete in Europe. Can you win the whole thing? I don't know, but you never know.
I scoffed at you on Saturday when you tweeted to me that Celtic could have beat Bayern Munich.
I was waiting for that. There may have been some refreshments involved in that statement.
I thought so. But 9 times out of 10, Bayern Munich are beating Celtic, and 1 time out of 10, Celtic got to get a draw.
And it didn't really mean that Celtic would have beaten both of those teams if you got them out of the hat tonight, right? But it was just in the Champions League final. Both teams, I thought, were thoroughly average. And I thought when you look back to the Barcelona match, and you look back to maybe even the Spartak match and games like that, Celtic were really, really good, and probably would have stood shoulder to shoulder with those two teams the way they played in the Champions League final. That's what I meant by that.
Mm-hmm. Excuses.
Fair enough, but there's some green tinted glasses you're wearing right there.
Of course. Well, there's sort of a permanent fixture, so I make no apologies for that.
Well, I think
green tinted balls, James.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, I think this year is definitely tainted without Rangers being in the league.
Oh, shut your mouth.
No, I'm kidding. It's been a brilliant year. I've loved it, and I didn't miss them at all. Just didn't miss them.
So, do you think with the success this year, as D. Lennon looks to rebuild the team, the performance of the club would be enough to entice players of the calibre of the Hoopers and the Wanyamas and the Forsters and the Ledleys and the Browns? Have we got enough right now to attract players of that calibre?
Who's the young guy from Poland they're trying to entice, to use your words? Tonev, is that his name?
Yes, it is.
Well, I read a quote from him today, and he was very clear in that is Champions League football is very attractive. That's what's attracting him to Celtic. So I think that is the major carrot, and we've talked about this before. As long as you can dangle that carrot in front of people, you're going to be attractive.
Yes and no. I understand that.
But that's the caliber of player you're going to attract. You're not going to attract, an EPL player.
I don't want EPL players. I'm done with EPL players. We've spent so much money and wasted so much money on 32-year-old EPL players, and really that's the type of pool we fish in. That's not the solution for us.
You wouldn't attract a player from one of the top teams in any of the top leagues in Europe.
No, well, we couldn't afford them, for starters.
No.
But now, if we hadn't cut the price of the season tickets, as you said, Jerry...
and saved £4 million.
Can I ask you a question, Christopher? Is it fair to say that the final 16 is the highest bar that we can achieve? And to get out of the qualifying is really where we need to be as best as possible.
That's a good question.
I think that question, I think the answer to that question changes every year. Because, first of all, Celtic's first challenge is to get into the Champions League proper.
Right.
Right? And when you look at who we drew last year, I thought, we always had a good chance. But when you've seen some of the teams that were in the pot the previous years we were in it, when we got the likes of Arsenal and teams like that, well then that's a big, big challenge to Celtic. However, I have to qualify that by saying once we get into the Champions League and we saw the other teams in the group, I thought we were as good as anybody in that group.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice that Benfica is a pot 1 team next season?
I got to tell you something. I thought Benfica were Celtic's toughest opponents again.
Mm-hmm.
In that group. I know that sounds ridiculous with Barcelona being in there, but Benfica and Celtic just seemed to be on the same sort of level. It's give and take with Celtic and Benfica.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, and that's probably Celtic's immediate benchmark is a team like Benfica, and there they are sitting in pot one.
What the hell is pot one? What are you talking about?
Well, there's 4 teams in each group, right? And
right.
Each team is drawn from the respective pots: pot 1, pot 2, pot 4, pot 3, pot 4.
Okay.
So Benfica are one of those top 8 teams that will be in the draw.
Kidding.
So Celtic now have qualifying rounds to get through.
Right.
Benfica's already there.
Oh, Jiminy.
Aye.
So we will probably go into pot 4.
As it sits today, we're in pot 4, and that may change between now and the end of August.
And that's just because the SPL is so poor, right?
Right. And,
that sucks.
Well, SPL's poor, and Celtic had a couple of seasons there where they were just absolutely ranked rotten in Europe.
Yeah.
So they weren't picking up any coefficient points.
And the Scotland national team's pretty poor as well.
That's right.
Motherwell, Dundee United, Motherwell, Dundee United, and Hearts, they're just getting pumped out of Europe before, August.
Fair enough. And then, my second favorite team, one of the toughest things, if you look at my second favorite team, Chelsea, I mean, they won last year, and then, but they won Europa this year. So I just want success in Europe for a Celtic fan. That was so much fun. And whether it is in the Champions or it is in the Europa, this is a team, though, that can compete to win Europa. I do. I think they possibly can.
It's funny you should say that, Jimmy, because there was a really good debate on Twitter this week about that exact same topic. And the question that was sort of thrown out there that people were replying to was, would you prefer to get into the last 16 or make it to the semi-finals or the final of the Europa League?
Oof. Good one.
I would take the last 16.
Just for the prestige of it, Jerry, and you think that the chance of winning a trophy in Europe doesn't have the same appeal as getting into the last 16?
Right, that's where the top dogs dine, is in the Champions League.
Yeah, but you have to put it in the perspective of where Celtic are right now.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to set your sights in an impossible level. They're not Bayern Munich, but they're on a level with Benfica. I think that should be the level that they aspire to immediately. Within the next 2 or 3 seasons. So
here's a wee bit of a tidbit for you. Over the last few weeks, as you're well aware, I've been collecting audio bites from supporters who have submitted, their favourite player, favourite piece of memorabilia, etc., etc., etc. Well, one of the questions that I threw out there for people to send me a little audio bite for the Celtic History Podcast was, what's your favourite Celtic moment? And believe it or not, I would say 2-1, more than anything else, people's favourite moment was Seville.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So if you're looking at what we enjoyed the most, you can talk about the last 16 under Gordon Strachan, you can talk about the last 16 under Neil Lennon, and when people have sort of said, yes, that was my favourite moment following Celtic, Seville is by far the most popular answer.
Okay, let's rephrase the question then. I've got 2 prizes here for you. You either get to go to the Europa League final or the last 16 of the Champions League. What do you want? I'll take the cup final in the Europa League
all day long.
Every day of the week. But in terms of aspirations, I would take that last 16 in the Champions League.
I think for credibility, and one thing that probably I might have to whisper this, but one thing that Celtic fans want is credibility from leagues near and dear to Scotland. Mm-hmm. And I think if you get into the semi-final even of the Europa League, and maybe even the final, it's like Mickey Mouse trophy. But you get into the last 16 of the Champions League, people are going, huh? What? Huh? Flipper, you know what? Well done. Because you look at even after Celtic went to Seville, a few years after that, teams like Middlesbrough made it to the Europa League final.
Mm.
And you would never put Celtic and Middlesbrough in the same sentence.
There was teams just parking the bus and they made it to the final.
Yeah, no, but look what happened to them. They folded.
Aye, true enough.
So, and again, it goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning. To entice players to the Celtic team, I think you would get a better calibre, or at least a more ambitious player with the thoughts of going to the Champions League.
Who are you enticing? Because if you look at what Lenny is doing, I mean, he's finding with his build them up, sell them, build them up, sell them. He's finding these diamonds in the rough throughout the world.
Well, I saw Robbie Keane playing for Ireland tonight. He looked pretty tasty.
I like Keno.
That's got a bit of a shelf life now, Jamie, hasn't it? Are we going to be doing this podcast in 10 years and you'll still be going, Keno?
I just really liked watching him. It was fun.
I don't know. Because the amazing thing about football right now is that the players that Celtic sign are usually players I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I don't... Jerry, who was the last Celtic player that we signed that you went, oof?
Freddie Lundberg.
Well, that goes back to my point about EPL players.
But by that time, his sell-by date had been well past. Juninho.
Maybe, but then he was sort of getting on too, and that didn't excite me either, to be honest with you. Juninho, maybe 4 seasons before he came to Celtic, would have excited me.
And the same with the two Keanes. By that time, they were past it.
Yeah. I mean, Roy Keane, when he came to Celtic, was at the best mediocre.
And again, was Roy Keane a loan signing? I think he was just a loan signing to the end of the season, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So, in terms of actual signings, you might be right. John Harrison might be the last one.
That's a long time ago. Samaras, maybe? I mean...
But he was...
Man City in and out of Man City at the time.
But he wasn't getting a game at Man City.
Yeah.
And remember, Man City were poor at that time.
That was prior to the Sheik.
Exactly.
And the Yankees coming together. My Yankees, baby.
I mean, even the likes of Craig Bellamy coming on loan. I mean, that was exciting. That was good because Bellamy... none of us thought we would sign Craig Bellamy. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember all the pictures going about on Twitter. Celtic signed Bellamy, and when you opened it up, it was a picture of David Bellamy.
Well, the last one would be... what's his name? The big baldy-headed guy.
Moravcik?
No. Gravison.
Oh, Thomas Gravison. Yeah, you're right. That's right. He would probably be the last one. Look the way he turned out.
But he was, that was a huge signing at the time.
Gravison showed some signs of brilliance when he played for Celtic, and then other times he just switched off completely. Him and Strachan just didn't get on, did they?
It's funny what happened there. I don't know.
I think he just didn't do what he was told.
Even Naka, he was a fairly big signing.
But Nakamura became a big signing once we signed him. I think we sort of played him up a wee bit. My point is, I'd never heard of Nakamura.
No, you're right enough.
You know, and then we were like, we're going to sign Nakamura, and everything went nuts on who he was, who he played for. He was the pin-up boy, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then it was like, oh, he looks pretty tasty. But I don't even know in the near future whether we will sign very many players that I've heard of.
No, it's fun that way.
Exactly. There's a certain level of pride as well in developing, Victor Wanyama and even Gary Hooper or players, Fraser Forster for one. They're going to add a certain cachet to Celtic eventually. These are players that will go on to bigger things, if that's even possible, playing after you've played for Celtic. But, they'll play in the last stages of the Champions League, and, people say, he came through at Celtic.
Like he said, like Ki Sung Young.
Where is Ki Sung Young?
He's on the bench at Fulham.
Yeah. I don't know why you'd want to do that. I guess. I just, to me, as a former player, I just don't understand why you'd, just so that you can play in front of 100,000. Is that fun? And lose? I don't get it.
I think it's the weekly pay packet that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good call.
Let's just do this for a bit of fun, right? Celtic's team on Sunday in the Scottish Cup final. Tell me whether you had heard of them before they signed for Celtic, right? Fraser Forster.
No.
Izagiri.
No.
Calvin Wilson. Yes, I'd heard of Calvin Wilson.
Only because he'd been rumoured coming to Celtic.
Correct. You're absolutely right. Yes, that's the only reason I'd heard of Calvin Wilson. Charlie McGrew obviously was one of our own, went to Aberdeen, so we heard Charlie McGrew. Lustig.
We said, what the hell's he saying for Celtic?
Actually, that was a shock. I was like, huh? But big Charlie somewhere. Lustig. Never heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Brown, yes, because he plays in Scotland.
Uh-huh.
Chris Commons. I'd heard of Chris Commons.
Only because he'd had a couple of games for Scotland by then.
I don't think he had, Jerry.
For
Derby?
No.
Didn't he come from Derby?
I think he played a couple of games for Scotland by then.
Okay. Joe Ledley?
Yes.
You'd heard of Joe Ledley because you're a big Cardiff fan?
No, again, I think it was just a rumour.
We had Wee Forrest obviously came through. Stokes played for Hibs, so we'd heard of him. Gary Hooper?
No.
And then just quickly through the subs, because this is getting ridiculous. Saluska, Ambrose, Rogic, Paddy McCourt played for Derry, and Georgie Samaras. So I'd heard of Georgie Samaras. But there you are. There. Georgie Samaras, yes. Playing for Man City. I had for
No, you did not.
Like, I absolutely did.
You did not.
I love Georgie Samaras even
when I was upstairs in the cave upstairs when Samaras came, and you were like, he's some kind of Greek. My buddy tells me he sometimes said we're going to get pissed about him, but that we're gonna love him. So don't tell me you heard of him.
Marquis saying
You went to a Man City fan, and he told you the guy hardly gets. And when he gets on the pitch, you see brilliance, but he pisses you off. That's verbatim.
Look, he's been brilliant from the day an Ari signed, and anybody else that argues with that will have Jared Deal to deal with.
Fine. I can use a good ass kicking.
Ross County.
Ross County what?
Cost us the game.
Oh, you're talking about the semi-final, aren't you? Look, one blip in a career, man. One blip.
One.
The man's a hero, so yes. And not only that, he's going to be here for a long time as well. Doesn't even want to leave.
He's an enigma.
That's a good segue then, because he's coming on the last year of his contract. So what do you do with Samaras?
Keep him, run his contract down, let him go for free.
Do you cash in?
Take them.
That'll not pay for the season tickets. No, I don't think you would get that much for Samaras for some reason. I think you would sort of get 2-3 million for him, maybe. Right? Unless we sort of, find a Russian mafia that we tell him he's better than Aidan McGeady and they'll give us 10.
I think you'd get more, 2 or 3 or 4.
With 1 year left, Jerry, you know what I would do? I'd sign Samaras for another 2 years.
Do a Petrov.
Well, I mean, if he wanted to go after that, that's his own business. Samaras will walk away from Celtic, and Celtic fans will slap him on the back and wish him good luck. Sure.
In 10 years' time, it will be one of the best players that ever played for Celtic.
Yeah, but he... but you wouldn't put Samaras in the same category as the Pierre Van Hooijdonks or the George Cadettis. He's not a badge kisser or anything like that. And oh, I love Celtic. Oh, pay me more money or I'm off ski. Samaras's head's below the sandbags, and you know what? I do nothing but doff my cap to him. There's a guy that won the European Championships with Greece.
But fair enough.
Was he in that side?
He sure was.
Did he play?
I think he played every game.
Well, then there you go. Look at that.
So the council rests for the defence.
I apologise.
Your stand, councillor, deal?
My question was, what do you do with him? I wasn't asking about his merits. I was just asking what the club would do with Samaras.
Are we going through the team?
No, we're not going through the whole team, for God's sake.
I didn't know where we were going.
5 hours. What would you do with him, Jerry?
Jerry would punt them.
I would listen to all offers.
You could take the man out of the dock, but you can't take the dock out of the man.
No, you can get like 25,000 from him from Cyprus, and it probably the fucking check would bounce.
He could cash it all in one day, Jimmy.
The Greeks would send you a check written in German.
Don't mention the war, Jamie. Don't mention the war.
Yeah, the Greeks would send a check from Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche Bank. All right, people. I'm just joking. All you Euros, calm down.
So where do we go with this team then? We've got 3 weeks off before we start back to training.
It's so ridiculous. 3 lousy weeks. God almighty, you guys are crazy.
I tweeted after the cup final on Sunday, anybody any transfer rumours? I'm bored with a close season. What need lifted the cup?
Half of them will still be hungover in 3 weeks' time.
I don't know. Go. I really don't. It's all contingent upon Hooper, to be honest with you. There's your off season. You know what I mean?
I think you're right, Jay.
It's all Hooper.
I think you're right. Depends what happens to him, and then the other dominoes start falling into place, I think.
Yeah. That's fair enough, Jared, because if he leaves, if you sell him, and say you get a couple of bucks, you need a striker, right? Unless you think Commons can fill that role. Can he?
No.
Which I don't think so either, right? So you need a striker. Because we know the Stokes and Sammy up front doesn't work, right?
Agreed.
So you need another striker. So it really, I don't even know how much you can get for Hooper's. He's out of contract, right?
No,
he's a year to go.
So I say screw it and you keep Hooper, but
what about Tony Watt?
I like Tony Watt. He's just an immature young kid, though. I don't want to go into the season relying on Watt, Sammy, who can show up and then not show up, and really just one striker. That's not good. And maybe Lustig.
I listened to the homeboys talking about Tony Watt last night, and a few wee rumours flying around the camp that he's not very happy at the moment. He was demoted down to the the boys' team and stuff, and took the hump and all this kind of thing.
Tony Watt, you're talking about?
Yeah,
That's the maturity thing.
Yeah.
But what the lads were talking about last night is, he totally, took the hump and spat his dummy out and all that there kind of stuff, compared to whenever Stokesy got dropped down. They were saying that sort of Stokesy put the head down and said, I'm going to prove myself here. But Tony Watt might be a different case, but who knows? Half-truths and rumours. Gotta love them.
Did you read the rumour today that Celtic Rumours put out that Forster has asked away?
Yes, I did see that. No big surprise that, though, is it? Was that not an interview after the Cup final as well?
Yeah, that was reported on News Now. I saw that.
To go and play for England and all that,
yeah.
Raise his profile. Fair enough.
I was sort of taken aback by it. I thought he was in for the long term.
That actually chapped my ass, because what are you saying? Final 16 didn't raise your profile? Beating Barcelona didn't raise your profile?
Come on. Yeah, that's the way I took it, Jamie.
Yeah, I did too, Jer. Well, maybe you're rubbing off on me, but that pissed me off.
Well, he didn't make the bench for England tonight in a friendly at Wembley against Ireland.
That was because he's only getting 3 weeks off, if I read it correctly. He anticipates being back in the squad for the qualifiers in the fall.
Well, that remains to be seen.
Well, I don't know.
How is he going to raise his profile any more than what he has in the past 12 months? Only by going to probably one of the top 4, top 6 clubs in England, so he can be on the telly every week.
Because the huge snobbery of the England international setup won't play Fraser Forster because he plays in the SPL.
Get the hell out of here.
I know exactly what you're saying, Chris, but he is getting named in the squad.
I know, Jerry, but there's one thing getting named in the squad, and there's another thing playing the first team.
No.
So he's not playing in the first team because he plays for the SPL?
Well, I mean, I'm sure Joe Hart's still everybody's favourite down in England, but Fraser Forster comes in and out with your man. Is it Ben Johnson or something you call him? I know he was a sprinter.
The man say Joe Hart.
Joe Hart's the first choice, of course he is. I'm talking about the guy that came on for him at half-time today.
He plays at Southampton or something, is it not?
But I mean, for Fraser Forster to put it down to the SPL, I don't know if I can disagree with him. If his whole ambition is to play for England, which it might well be, I think while he plays for Celtic, it's unlikely he'll get a start for England unless Joe Hart gets injured.
He keeps playing. His form really dropped off after he picked up that injury at the start of the season or the start of the year. But if he plays the way he played in Europe, you'd be silly not to play him.
But Jerry, you're talking to me, who's a Celtic supporter, and I see him playing every single week.
But if you're Roy Hodgson, you watch the Champions League as well as you watch the SPL. Ben
Foster is what you call that guy,
right? So
Ben Foster come on at halftime.
As I was saying, Roy Hodgson watches the Champions League as much as he watches the SPL. If he's seen Fraser Forster play against Barcelona in the way he did, you can't deny it.
Yes, but I think where the complication comes in then is that he gets a heads up about this guy. Fraser Forster used to be the second string goalkeeper at Newcastle, now up in Scotland, playing in the Champions League. Okay, I need a scout to go up and watch this guy. And who's he going to go and see him playing against? Ross County, where he stands for 89 minutes and puts his thumb up his ass. And then, for 1 minute he might have to make a save, or in some of the instances this season, didn't make the save. It's just tough on the big lad, and I think that's just the goldfish bowl that we think we live in Scotland compared to, the reality of an English person looking to play for the England team.
Mm. All right.
So, that was a very long-winded way of saying, I think he's going to leave.
Oh, well, Zaluska it is. Jerry's going to be very happy.
Well, I was just finishing saying, I'd listen to all offers, and I'd listen to all offers for every player, probably except for Forster.
Would you? He would be the one you'd keep? You'd give up Hooper and you'd give up Wanyama to keep Forster?
I wouldn't give up Wanyama.
If they said you can only keep one player, he's the one I'd keep.
I'm going to tell you something. See the young goalkeeper that was playing for Ireland tonight, Ford, who plays for Millwall? He was outstanding tonight. Absolutely outstanding.
Okay.
Get him signed. Let the wall go.
Let the wall go.
I hear Shea Given's available.
Oh, for God's sake.
Jesus. I don't sell Wanyama. That's my no sell.
And that's the one you're keeping?
That's the one I'm keeping without question. First of all, he's a lifelong fan. And
he's got the number on his back.
He's got a number on his back. He's got a tattoo on his ass. You can't get rid of this guy.
Number 67. Can't replace him.
Can't replace him. Unreplaceable.
I mean, everybody's talking about Foster, and everybody's talking about Hooper, and everybody's talking about Wanyama. Do you think we're in danger of losing Commons or Ledley or some of the guys that actually make us tick, even Scott Brown? Anthony Stokes?
No, I don't think you'd lose Brown. Do you?
Well, there was a man made a very bold statement about 15 minutes ago when talking about the season so far and the difference in the team whenever Scott Brown plays and whenever Scott Brown does not play. And I tell you what, Jerry, you are right on the money.
Mm-hmm. It's crystal clear.
Yeah, Brown doesn't take any crap. Okay, so he sets the tone.
And he doesn't take any crap from his teammates. He doesn't accept mediocrity from them.
No, he doesn't take any crap. I love him.
Probably the biggest challenge that Celtic have are from teams that have been promoted from the Championship going into the EPL. A big bag of nuggets that they're busting to spend, and while they're not going to go and sign the 10, 15 million pound players and some of the mercenaries around Europe, I would say a lot of those managers cock an eye up to Scotland and think, do I spend 15 million on some guy from Italy who's a midfielder, or do I risk or tempt Celtic with 4 million for Scott Brown?
Fair enough.
That's the biggest danger for us these days, I think. Joe Ledley. Like you said, Joe Ledley wouldn't walk into any team outside the top 6 in England.
That's right. Yeah.
Even Chris Commons for a year or two. Chris Commons is a good player, so he is.
Yeah, he is. When he lost weight.
When he lost weight, when he went on the Chris McGuigan diet, he was superb.
Well, he's not on the Jamie Burchell diet because I am. I'm one fat bastard going into Vegas.
Like you're getting in Vegas shape, Jamie.
Oh my God, dude! I weigh 3,000 stones. Whatever the hell 200 stones. I don't know. I'm fat.
That's why you booked a room in your own. You couldn't fit anybody else in it.
I can't fit. I have to get a Lark, one of those motorized vehicles again, just to get me to my room.
Hey, we've done that before in Vegas, dude.
I'm going to do it. I'm getting a tattoo, Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to get the Celtic crest on my arm downstairs at the Riviera.
No, you're
McGuigan,
not.
Are you in, McGuigan? Let's do this.
For a tattoo? What do you think I do? Ride a Harley?
Listen, here's what we're going to do. I know we'll get back to the team but in a second. But me and you, in Vegas, we get a straight shave from Elvis. You've seen Elvis.
I'll do the shave.
Okay? We'll do the shave with Elvis, and then we'll go right next door and get a tattoo.
Only if you get one that says Chris and I get one that says Jamie.
Done
Or
deal.
even better, if Dale doesn't make it, we'll both get Dale on our arm.
How about we get like a 3 amigos? We get like three sombreros, and that's it. And we just put it on our arm. We're doing it. 3 sombreros.
If we got those in our arm, people will be saying this, do you get married 3 times?
Don't worry about it. This is very important to me. 3 sombreros. What do you think, Dale?
3 sombreros. My arm's not that big. I need to get it done on my arse.
I can get on my belly easy. I can fit.
Jamie, you missed that one. I fed you that one. I can't believe you didn't say you could have done your willy.
There's so many terrible things I could say there. Because you Euros have extra skin.
Oh. And if you're listening to Mrs. Burchell, he's talking about on our bottoms.
I don't know what that's about, Euros, but that's what you guys do. All right. You're cutting that anyway.
The wee smiley face needs a balaclava.
Where's Dale? Come on.
Last podcast this season, I just got to throw it up the way it is.
Pull it up.
Is Jerry still there? He's probably disgusted, is he?
Yeah, I think so. What's the matter?
After you started talking about Vegas, I checked out.
I know.
Ah, poor Jerry.
I apologize.
It's not too late.
When are you getting there, by the way?
Wednesday, I fly. I'll be there at 3.
On Wednesday?
Yeah.
I have no idea what time I get there at. I leave here on Wednesday, so I should be there on Wednesday.
Yeah, there you go. Fair enough.
That's as much as my brain's going to take tonight. Right, what else have we got for tonight? Somebody threw me a bone with a topic.
All right, how about, did we do our Player of the Year award?
Our Player of the Year award. I think Jerry's put us under too much pressure after the last time we talked about that.
Before we get to that, Euro qualification, you can, there's a good chance Celtic might play Cliftonville.
There's a very good chance that Celtic might play Cliftonville.
Who are you going to support?
Same as it did the last time Celtic played Cliftonville. Both. No, I mean, it goes back to the same thing. I mean, if Celtic played Cliftonville, and I love Cliftonville, absolutely love Cliftonville, absolutely love Celtic, I would like to see Celtic go through, but just by the skin of their teeth. Simply because Celtic need to go through more than Cliftonville do.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's a very diplomatic answer, isn't it?
What are they playing, a friendly?
No, they might get in the Champions League. Cliftonville won the league as well, and they're both in the same pot. They both have in the same qualifying round. To be honest with you, Jerry, it would be disaster. I would hate to see Celtic and Cliftonville actually play in a competitive match.
I would enjoy it just to watch you.
No, you might not enjoy it because Cliftonville might win.
Get out of here.
I'll tell you, they might.
How did Cliftonville do in the treble?
They won the double. Didn't win the cup final.
I know, I was having a go at you.
Heartbroken. Fantastic day, though. Absolutely fantastic day.
You went to that game, didn't you?
I sure did. Flew out that morning and then flew back the next day. It was fantastic. Fantastic atmosphere. We're flipping win 1-0 too.
That's right.
Don't start talking about that much, because I might say wee sweary words and say things that people might sort of point at me and say, you're naughty. But I wasn't happy.
Fair enough.
I think you guys got some of those tweets during that day, didn't you?
Yeah, you did. I forgot. I felt real bad for you, so I apologize.
Oh, it was awful. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Cliftonville.
Hey, I got a good story for you, since we're wrapping it up. You want to hear a funny story?
Love to.
So, as you both know, I am in staffing. Okay?
Which means... See, if you're going to punt your company here, I'm going to cut you off right away.
I'm not punting my company.
Bad enough that you're never on Twitter anymore, laughing and joking and slobbering and having a good time. You're always on tweeting about bloody opportunities for engineers in Aberdeen.
I apologize for this position. Do you know somebody that could do this job?
Embarrassing, Jamie Burchell. It's embarrassing.
Okay, wait. That's my fault, because I didn't know that my personal account was tied to those tweets. So again, I'm sorry, and I fixed it, and so now all those tweets will go somewhere else.
You didn't know for 3 months?
Actually, I didn't. I really didn't. I have my head so far up my ass. So I didn't know. So that won't happen anymore. Okay? And I've been tweeting about Smurfs because I'm trying to get some Smurf berries, and I'm sorry about that. All right. So just hold on. So all right. So anyways, I have a client that's looking for a very hard person to find. And I'm not going to bore you with SAP, yada, yada, yada. So I finally find this person. And normally I meet everyone before I send their resume to the client, but she's out of town. And so I go onto a site to see her picture, and her picture's not on the LinkedIn. And that's usually a flag, which means they either weigh 3,000 pounds or
They're
whatever.
not a hooker.
They're not a looker. Fine, no problem. I find a picture of her somehow online. She looks fine. So she goes to an interview the other day, and the client calls us back and said, I love her. I think we're going to try to hire her. The only problem we have is that she has a beard. Can you believe this? Now, I am shy. I say, come again? And he says, well, she's got she's got a pretty big goatee, actually. And I don't know what to do. So now I have to decide, do I call this girl and say, listen, we think we can get you this job if you shave? Is she like, I don't even know what to do. So I posted on Facebook today, and Jay Stevenson is going to do a write-up for me. But I thought that was funny to share with you guys because...
Jimmy, I don't know how you've been able to hold back your Jerry Seinfeld experience up till now. I mean, how you didn't just phone the girl up and go, okay, lady, lose the beard. That's the only way around it. Lady, lose... Let's call her right now. Call her now when we're on the podcast.
Call her now, I would, but I'm a little afraid that she's a transgender.
Jimmy, it doesn't matter. Call her right now and pretend you're from... What about if you pretend you're from Munster? Because she's bound to be on Monster as well. Let's do it right now. Let's call her.
No way. There's no way I'm going to get sued because then I'm going to wind up getting sued because she's transitioning to a man, and I don't even know. I don't care if she's Chaz Bono. I've become very liberal with that stuff. But if you're transitioning, I can't get you a job.
Just phone her up and say, are there any women here? No.
Do I call her and ask her if she's, have an Adam's apple? I mean, what do I do there? I have no idea. But anyway, this is what it takes to be a recruiter in my life. And I thought it just happened today. I just got that call today.
Come out of Jamie Burchell character and call her right now.
Call us.
Samras did not play for Greece in 2000.
Nobody's applied for a job with Jamie.
But when I got his resume, it was Samantha.
Can you believe after that brilliant story there, Jimmy? Jerry was up looking, he was checking the facts.
I don't understand. Jerry, this is almost as good as My Little Monkey, and you're telling me that you're not interested in the bearded lady.
Jamie, I'm trying to protect your ass here because you're just opening yourself up for all kinds of bother.
And you know, Jamie, that Jerry must have had a book on the Euro Championships up till now, facts and figures of the Euro Championships, because we didn't hear his big Sasquatch figers type it in there whether someone else was in the team.
Yeah, he had it all queued up.
Yes, he's got the book.
I'm probably going to get sued. What are you going to do?
You're going to call her, Jamie. Call her.
I'm not calling her, him.
You're not the man I left.
I'm not calling Shim at all.
Jamie, I was in Syracuse, New York one time.
They're all coming out now.
Let's go.
I was in Syracuse, New York one time, and I stopped for lunch. So we get in this restaurant in downtown Syracuse, and there was this lady in there, and she had the biggest beard that she must have escaped from the circus, honest to God.
Was her name Lola?
And what's the end of the story then, Jerry?
I was just...
Saw a bearded lady.
I saw a bearded lady, exactly.
Well, I tried to place one, okay? I had one go on a freaking interview. Guess who's not getting a fee? This one. That cost me thousands.
You do know, Jamie, that when you do actually come to interview this girl face to face, you'll be in a heap because you'll not be able to do anything but stare at the beard.
I know. I'm interviewing her on Monday.
You're going to have to address the situation.
I got to, because I think I could get her a job, so I'm going to have coffee with her on Monday.
So I've got a solution. I've got an answer for you. On Monday, you go and meet her, and you are addressed to, and don't shave from now till Monday. Can't lose with that. Can't lose.
Can't lose. Yes, I can. I could lose my company, get sued. I don't.
All right, last podcast of the season. Let's round this up. Who has been our player of the year?
Gary Hooper.
Chris Collins.
Ooh, Collins.
Charlie Mulgrew.
Fuck.
It's not 2011.
Chris Collins. Or Joe Ledley.
Or Victor Wanyama. It was a toss-up between Wanyama and Collins.
Aye. It was a good old season, that, in the words of Arkwright, wasn't it?
It was a very good season.
You don't think Hooper has a chance? No?
If he had been staying, probably everybody would have said, yeah, Hooper.
Right. But because he's probably leaving, you guys are just taking the piss to him? Is that what it is?
Well, see, even when you saw him getting interviewed after the Cup final on Sunday, you know, he looked like he enjoyed himself for the day. But when they said, well, you know, that's another thing. I'll get on to that in a minute. You know, he didn't commit himself. And he was like, you know, the interviewer was going, well, you're going to stay next season? Oh, I'll have to wait and see. I hate that. Just lie to everybody on the Cup final day. Just say, more than likely, I'm a Celtic player now. Don't see why that should change. Unless somebody knows something I don't know. I mean, there's loads of things you could say.
I was very impressed with Gary Hooper after the game. Did you see any of the footage on their way back to Parkhead after the game?
I saw a wee bit of it. I didn't get watching it all. I stuck it on and turned it off.
He's the only one that kept his suit on, kept his tie on. Very, very respectable young man.
Oh,
and the rest of like that Samaras didn't even put his suit back on. He was still in his tracksuit.
But you
Hold
still
on
the
a
best
sec.
looking boy in the bus.
Can I ask you a question? Speaking of suits, this is a perfect segue. Is Lenny like the fat-ass guy that can't... groomsman that takes his tie off the minute they walk into the reception? I mean, my God, he couldn't. He was late to the game. He had to change into his trackie.
That's only because he had to finish his carry-out first.
I thought he was taking a dump. I'm like, what's he doing?
I'll tell you what I didn't like in the Cup final coverage. So when the team were going to lift the trophy, I don't know what feed you guys got to watch the match, but every player that was going up, the commentator was going, I don't know if he'll be there next year. Ooh, I wonder will he be signing a new contract. Ooh, I wonder will he be off to the EPL. Every single one, right down to Lenny. Nobody knows where Lennon's going to be next year. The Everton job beckons and all crap like that. I mean, like, give it a rest for one day.
We haven't started that speculation.
Oh, he's not going anywhere. And if he does, if you saw the pregame show, there's someone that wants to come back to Celtic anyway. So once you get rid of Lennon, you bring in your favorite player of all time.
Anton Rogan?
There you go.
Who wants to go back to Celtic? The Connie?
No, you're Swede. The guy you love. What's his name?
Larson?
Yeah.
It'll never happen.
Why? The same thing with Lenny. He said the same thing 3 years ago.
You know what? I was digging through the podcasts last night. I was just... looking for the old Joe McBride interview because somebody had posted a picture of Joe McBride's grave yesterday on the whole Celtic grave day yesterday. And I was looking for the Joe McBride interview to fire that up there in case anybody wanted to listen to it. And so I looked back to some of the old podcasts that we had done, and we had the Lennon debate. Do you remember sitting that night thinking, God, is Neil Lennon going to be the manager? And all the emotions we went through talking about Neil Lennon, how much we loved him as a player, and we're all afraid that he was ever going to be manager, just in case it didn't work. Yeah.
We're more concerned for his reputation than anything else, I think.
No doubt, Jerry. No doubt. That was the whole thrust of it. You know, I remember that night as plain could be.
Mm-hmm.
Lennon's not going anywhere.
I don't think he's going anywhere either.
Where would he go to?
That's just it. I don't know that would be. Is he in demand? Let's put it that way.
No,
I don't think he is.
Not only is he not in demand, I don't think Neil Lennon is seeing any job that he's saying to himself, that's a job for me next.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are we talking about? Everton? Well, I think your man from Wigan's going to go to Everton anyway, Martinez, right? He quit Wigan yesterday. But is Everton the job that Neil Lennon wants? Leicester? Somebody else threw out Leicester in the Championship. Leicester? Go from Celtic to Leicester?
He won't spend his entire career at Celtic. He's going to have to move on at some time. And he's going to have to take a step down eventually.
Why?
Otherwise, where's he going to go?
But think about the situation Neil Lennon's in here, right? Unless something radically changes, you would expect Celtic to be winning the title for the next few years.
Right.
Let's even say 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time, right?
Until somebody comes back? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, what I'm saying is when you look at the financial clout of any team in Scotland, right? And I mean any team in Scotland. There's nobody at the minute that I can see is going to get into the same echelon as Celtic. Why would Neil Lennon leave Celtic? He's going to win the championship. He's going to get European football more or less guaranteed, unless he royally messes up, and that's unlikely. Motherwell's going to win the league? Come on. So why would he leave Celtic to go to Stoke City? Because he's not going to get the Man United job. He's not going to get the Chelsea job. He's not going to get the Man City job. He's not going to get one of those jobs where he's going to be in Europe and be a glamour manager. He'll get nothing anywhere else in the world that he's getting at Celtic.
And that's kind of the point I'm making. He can't spend his entire managerial career at Celtic. It's just, it's silly for both sides. It's silly for the club, and it's silly for Neil Lennon.
Do you not think? Well, look at Alex Ferguson. Look at the length of time he spent at Man United. The reason he stayed at Man United was he was successful. So if Neil Lennon continues to be successful at Celtic, why can't Neil Lennon be the first manager to win 10 in a row? He's got wee goals, but they're long-term goals. Why can't he set his sights next year on winning the treble and emulating some very, very, very few managers in our history? He's already been the first manager to win the double as manager and player. There's only been two other men have done that: Billy McNeil and Jock Stein.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Lennon has a whole lot of records that he could break to be one of the greatest figures ever in Celtic's history.
The only reason he would leave is if, Peter pissed him off and didn't let him bring in his own players and that sort of thing. Those rifts, unfortunately, do happen.
But even... yes, you're absolutely right, Jimmy.
You see that in sport all the time.
Yeah, sure. But it all depends on the magnitude of that rift, or whether there's a difference between a rift and a tiff.
True.
And you would still expect Celtic to be winning the league championship for the foreseeable future, and at least one cup a year. But to have the goal of winning the treble, I mean that's challenge enough. That's a bigger challenge and a more satisfying challenge to achieve than going to be manager of Everton and finishing 10th in the EPL. And I'm picking on Everton there, and I don't really mean to pick on Everton. I quite like Everton, actually.
But only because his name was mentioned in conjunction with their vacancy. But his name will continually pop up for vacancies like that. Next season it could easily be, pick a team.
The only thing that would make him leave would be money.
Sure. I don't know. Who knows? I think that, it's so funny because Alistair, who, he's my buddy, he's a big fan of the Lost Boys, and he was panicking on Facebook. Oh, God, we're going to lose Neil. We're going to lose. I go, he's not going anywhere. Calm down.
I'm actually going to take that back. The only reason that he wouldn't leave wouldn't just be money. The other reason would that he would get so much abuse, or his family would get abuse for being Neil Lennon and being manager of Celtic from some of the Neanderthals out with Celtic, that could make him quit and just say, yeah, I'll do it to the end of the season, and after that I'm going to go try something different.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But, let's hope that doesn't happen, and,
But in the immediate future, he's not going anywhere in the immediate future, certainly not this summer.
Good, I'd be dead happy with that.
There you go. There you go.
He's a long way from the finished article, but he's not going anywhere.
Hey, can I tell you something brilliant that I found out on my... I was tweeting about it. Christopher, you would love this, dude. I have now, with my Apple TV, and I'm a little bit of an Apple bigot, but with my Apple TV and my Mac, I can take the game and put it on my Mac and stream it wirelessly onto my Apple TV.
Jimmy, it's better to be an Apple bigot than an orange bigot.
True. It's very true. You guys ruined the color orange. You ruined the color orange for me. But anyway.
And what, is it wireless? Do you just play it through your computer? Or do you play it through your TV, your big screen?
Yeah, Apple TV is pretty cool because you can stream Netflix and stream movies.
But you don't have to subscribe monthly to it?
To Apple TV? No.
Just buy the dongle kind of thing?
Buy the dongle thing. It's $99, $100. And no more cords, no more wires. Stream whatever is on your laptop or on your Mac goes right to the big screen. So I'm watching it on a 65-inch, and it's Christopher. It's unbelievable.
What about if you stream it through your iPad?
Same thing. You can do it through your iPad.
Ooh, now you've got me on the hook.
You can do it through your iPad. So if you're sitting at home watching games on your iPad, right?
Uh-huh.
Right in the Apple TV. So there's this cool little icon that pops up, and it says you basically, it looks like a TV with an arrow pointing to it. You press that, and it goes right to your TV.
Press the big black arrow on the right.
It's literally that.
Remember that, Jimmy?
Yes.
Very good. Good hint. Thank you very much, James.
I was just trying to help out. Jared's pretty cool.
All right, lads. Time's getting away from us here. What else have we got for this evening? What have we got for the end of the season? What's our last parting words?
Well done, Celtic. What a year. I couldn't imagine a better year. God bless them. I love this team. I love them.
Another year of maturity of a young squad. I think they could carry on to better things next season, I think.
It's been lovely. It's been good fun this season. And I think the success that we had this year in winning 2 trophies and doing so well in Europe has put a smile on everybody's face, that's for sure. It's been good fun. I've enjoyed it. So with that, gentlemen, we will bring the curtain down on season number 4 for the Lost Boys. And as I say, we'll probably have something in Vegas in a couple of weeks' time. And Jerry, keep your phone handy. If you're not sitting with us, you'll certainly be joining us, that's for sure.
I will do that.
Wonderful. James Burchell, I will see you in the Riviera in 2 weeks' time, my friend.
You're damn right you will.
You better have a cold beer waiting on me.
You're damn right I will.
And loads of stickers and beads.
I'll try.
Gentlemen, good night, God bless you, and I'll see you all for the final History Podcast before we start back into the main season. How does that sound?
Fantastic.
All right. Gentlemen, good night and God bless.
Good night.
See you, Chris. See you, Jamie.
See you, lads.
Good night, boys.
So there you are, lads and lasses. That's us for another season. That was absolutely great to catch up with the boys again. So as you have heard on this podcast and you've read on Twitter and things like that, we are going to do a series of 10 podcasts over the summer, charting the history of Celtic Football Club from 1887 up to current day. And we will have a different guest on every single episode, and we will have a different charity for every single episode as well. So originally we were going to actually charge for the podcasts, and then, well, that didn't sit that well with us, to be honest with you. We also explored releasing them as audio books, but to get them put on iTunes they were looking $49 for each episode, and we thought that $49 would be better spent with the charities themselves. So what we're asking you to do is we're going to put a donate button up with the podcast, and we're going to ask you to pay £1 for each one of the history podcasts, or 50p, or whatever you've got. Or if you're feeling really generous, throw a wee bit extra in there. We'll collect all that money right up to the end of the series, and then we'll divide it up among the 10 charities, and that'll be our contribution. There won't be one single penny will go to anybody involved in Lost Boys, HailHailMedia, or any of the guests that's coming on. All the money raised will go to charity, and that'll be absolutely super. And if you can't wait that long, look out for Playing for the Lost Boys 4, the book, which will be out over the next couple of weeks, and you'll be able to get that on lulu.com. Harper's compiled it again. He's collected all the blogs from this season, and again it will go to charity, like everything else that Lost Boys do. So we will be in Vegas in 2 weeks' time, and we'll do a wee podcast from there, and we'll see what we can get going, see which ex-players we can get interviewed, and some of the celebrities that we'll no doubt meet on our travels. And we'll call that the first podcast of next season, so how about that? So that's it for this year. Season number 4 with the Lost Boys. Playing us out as usual. Charlie and the Boys, the song of the Lonesome Boatman. My name's Chris McGonagle. Talk to you all real soon. Cheers. So it's the 125th anniversary of the first game that Celtic ever played, and myself and James Girvin are in Cheltenham, and we're here at the grave of William Peter McGonagle, who was born on the 30th of April 1904 and passed away on the 20th of December 1956. Peter joined Celtic in October 1926 and played his first game against Falkirk on the 27th of August 1927. He also made his Scotland debut against England on the 1st of April 1933 at the age of 28, and he went on to earn 6 caps. His last Scotland cap came against Wales on the 21st of November 1934, and he also represented the Scottish League. His Celtic career, often played with incident, came to an end in the summer of 1936 when he was released after playing 325 games, scoring 8 goals. One such incident happened in a game against Rangers in 1935 when McGonagle, infuriated by a late challenge on Joe Kennaway from Rangers' big forward Jimmy Smith, which had laid out the Celtic keeper. Smith had a reputation for his overly physical approach to the game, and on this occasion McGonagle thought he'd gone too far. With Kennaway receiving treatment and Smith sat in the penalty area, the enraged McGonagle picked up the match ball and marched over to where the Rangers forward was sat. Standing directly over Smith, he slowly raised his arms and with considerable force bounced the ball off Smith's head. McGonagle was sent off for his actions, and for some Celtic directors it was an indiscretion too far for Peter, and from that moment his days at Parkhead looked numbered.
After he left Glasgow Celtic, he played for a season in England in the old Southern League for Cheltenham Town. He's laid to rest in the Cheltenham Cemetery, and he passed away on the 15th of December 1956, aged 51.
So we're just here to remember all the Celtic players of the past, and on this day, 125 years later from the first game, it's nice to be in Cheltenham and still feel so close to our spiritual home. God bless you, Peter.